religious fundamentalism isn't unique to the Middle East. It's not unique to Iran. It's not unique to Iraq. It's not unique to any of these nations in the Islamic Revolution of the 1970s going into the 1980s. It's really not. And I think a lot of people, especially Americans, don't understand this trope because they've been made to believe that Christianity, Christian fundamentalism, Christian nationalism is normal. So the reason I say this is I get this text message earlier from, I'm guessing, somebody from a political campaign who's questioning me, how do you feel about Iran being the aggressor? And I'm just trying to tell them that, in my opinion, Iran is not the aggressor nation. And I just want to talk about a small history of Iran and the United States, especially from Operation Ajax. So I want to start in the 1950s. Iran was trying to make its own version of democracy, how we see here in the West. That was something that the nation wanted, the people wanted. They wanted to nationalize their oil. But especially in a time of when communism and the Red Scare was happening in the United States, a lot of people, especially the people in government, I forget who was the president at the time, it might have been Eisenhower or Truman, somewhere around there, they thought that was a threat. They thought this was a communist threat, a USSR threat, that they wanted to be a democratic nation because they had opinions that were kind of left-leaning. So you might have been like, okay, so what did the United States do? They did Operation Ajax, and I think it was 1953, and they basically had a CIA-backed coup with the British government to go into Iran and overthrow their democratic leader to institute a dictator, a military dictator. And this was one of the United States' many attempts of this neo-colonial covert diplomacy that they would do. They would infiltrate these nations who wanted to have self-determination and have their own governments. And the United States basically said, no, we're not doing that. We want you guys to stay away from communism, to stay away from that path, because we want control. And basically what I said to this person, I said, while I agree that Islamic fundamentalism is dangerous, I also voiced the same concern about Christian fundamentalism and nationalism that the Conservative Party of the United States has been promoting for a while now. The reason Iran went to this Islamic fundamentalism that we see right now is a direct result of the United States aggression in the Middle East. These people wanted to be liberated. These people wanted to have their own government, to have their own diplomacy. So when they see somebody, they see this leader, which is the Ayatollah, coming up and saying, okay, I'm going to make a government where we represent our beliefs, Arab beliefs, our religion. Of course the people are going to back that. What they didn't know is that it would be fundamentalist and women would get taken away their rights. And we see a lot of people in the United States say, oh, that's so barbaric, that's so backwards. What is the GOP doing right now? What is the government doing right now? What is Trump promoting right now? A lot of very backwards things. We see Roe v. Wade getting overturned. We're seeing this push for more conservatism and traditionalism and marriage and women and family. The governor of my state, Indiana, he just declared, I think, June Nuclear Family Month. Much as you want to admit it or not, these are all Christian nationalism, Christian fundamentalism attempts that are very close to Islamic fundamentalism. Remember that both of these religions are similar. They come out of this similar pool of Christianity, Judaism, Islam, this one God. And they do, a lot of them have patriarchal beliefs. And it's very easy to be able to take things out of line and to distort the context so the religions become oppressive. But not oppressive for men, but oppressive for women. And in Christianity's case, we're seeing oppression based on nationality, on skin color. The truth is, are we that far away from religious fundamentalism in this country? That's something seriously we need to think about. So instead of leaders like Donald Trump trying to say, oh, they're so backwards, that party is closer to those beliefs than we think. And on the topic of Iran not being the aggressor nation, I agree that Iran has done bad things. All nations have done bad things. But like I said, there's a history of Western intervention in the Middle East. This civilizing mission that grew out of the scramble for Africa in the late 1800s and went towards the 1900s. Decolonialization. And this is a response of the decolonialization movement. What we've seen in the news and very recently is that the United States and Israel are the aggressor nations right now. Every time I hear about a bombing, it's those two nations doing something. The school, I think it was the girls' school in Lebanon that was bombed by Israel, it just disgusted me. I don't believe in bombing any civilians at all. But that's just something I think we need to think about, especially in this day and age.